Hey everybody. I was just looking at the Nerf thing. Gone. Um, Rupert Spira has flowers. I have a Nerf basketball hoop. Um, yes. Today we're looking at how the desire for change fixes the unchanging reality in place. So it's a day for going back to our wheel and having a look at the areas where change seems most desperate, where we feel so awful in that area, so limited and stuck, so frustrated, there's so much self-blame perhaps, that we're desperate to break out of it, really desperate. It seems it's absolutely vital that something changes or we're never going to be okay. And yeah, we're going to look at how that very desperation is keeping fixed in place that reality. And how is that happening? Well, it's happening because there's an idea of self that's not right. So let's say we use health as an example. There's an idea of self here that should be eating better, should be exercising more, that looks in the mirror, doesn't like what it sees, opens magazines, doesn't like the comparison, feels awful, and sees itself not exercising, not eating well, not doing all the things it's told itself it has to do, not following all the plans that it's downloaded, this. So it feels awful. And it looks as though the way to feel better is to create change in that area, to, if only I could eat better, if only I could exercise, if only I could lose some weight, if only I could change shape, whatever it is, bulk up, whatever it is, then I'd feel better. And that's what all the evidence is saying. So everywhere we look, every magazine, every article online, every friend, every diet expert, everyone is saying, yes, you'll feel so much better when you look like me, when you eat better, when you're exercising, when you're doing all these things, you'll feel so much better. And so we really try, and then we fail. And we fail because the trying is coming from a fixed reality of a self that needs this, that isn't okay without it, that has to make changes, that this is the only way it's going to all work, this is the only way to feel better. So that's the reality, and within that reality, this trying is happening to change behavior. But the behavior is coming from that reality in the first place. It's that understanding of reality, of this self here, of what it needs, that is creating the behavior. That's the only place the behavior can come from. It's automatic. It's the programming from that idea of self and reality. So that's the behavior. And then in comes another thought from the same reality. This behavior, sorry, just pause for a moment. So in comes a thought from the same reality saying, this behavior should be different. It has to be different. There has to be a way to change it. But how can it change? The program is the same. The software is the same. There's nothing in there that's changing. And so what happens then is that attempt to change, that trying, that willpower, that grinding out, is just providing more and more evidence of first of all, how necessary this change is, how desirable, and also how impossible it is, because it's not sustainable. There's nothing long term in it. There's nothing, no permanent change has happened. So we can see, and it's the same with everything. It's the same. If there hasn't been a fundamental shift in the foundation from where all beliefs arise, then there's no change. There's surface effort. And the surface effort is only reinforcing that reality. So all the areas on our wheel where there's a desperation to change, and we try, in those areas we do what people tell us to do, but nothing's changing. It's because of that. It's because there's still that grip of, I'm like this, the world is like this, health is like this, money's like this, clients are like that. So that's why the desperate need for something to be different completely logically makes it impossible for something to be different. Oh look, Norwegian forest cat climbing curtains. So there we go. So yeah, and then we get to the question, so what do we do with that then? How do I break through this desperation? And well, we hang around. We hang around in this conversation. We see how fine we are. We see underneath it how life is moving the body, life is breathing, life is sending words. We just see that's all needed, and things will start shifting because they can't not. Reality, every time we look at it from a different perspective, we start seeing, oh wow, it's never fixed, it's never real, it's never true, objective, nothing. And then bit by bit, this ocean tanker starts gradually altering course, and the programming shifts, the software shifts, the robot is rebooted, all from a different operating system. And it doesn't mean, of course it doesn't mean, that there isn't going to be all sorts of stuff thrown into that reality to deal with. But increasingly it will be dealt with from the understanding that nothing should be different here. So it's as it is. There's nothing to change. So there we go. It's a bit of a recap from our webinar. And it's just, yeah, it's such an important area for us to well, important. It takes out the effort, I think. It takes out that struggle within a reality without questioning that reality, and because then going nowhere. Okay, big love. Bye.